Proposition 232. What would a comprehensive theory of everything be if we didn't at least attempt to tackle what happens after we die? Incomplete, I suppose. While it is true that we may never find out for certain what happens until it happens, one thing that is most likely true is that reports from those who passed and were brought back likely only recall what their imagination played out in their mind as their brain cells began being deprived of oxygen. Proposition 233. Another thing that is most likely true is that we invented heaven and hell at first to help control the fear of the unknown, but eventually to aid in establishing reasons for people to be morally ethical. Two basic questions were behind the origins of most religions. Where do we come from and where do we go? What is wholly illogical would be spending an eternity of pleasure or eternity of pain based off decisions made during a tiny, finite sliver of existence. Proposition 234. Reincarnation is the possible option as to what happens after death that has the most credible evidence of the options out there. If it were true, then there would be a heaven and there would be a hell, but the actions of the individual would not dictate where they end up. Instead, it would be the collective actions of the whole that determines long-term if they all find extended periods of heaven-like existence or end up seeing suffering and pain for the majority of species on their planet. Proposition 235. When the actions of the many follow the imaginary instructions of how to find heaven, peace, and love, then those planets could someday see a utopian existence. When the actions of the many follow the imaginary instructions of how to find hell, hatred, bigotry, and war, then those planets likely never get to actualize their potentials and end up with long-term suffering. Proposition 236. Our choices and those of our immediate descendants could be far more important than almost any other generation that came before us or will ever come after us. We may get to choose if, as a whole, our entire species gets to ascend the stairway to heaven, or we remain apathetic and all get to ride a downward spiral along the highway to hell. Proposition 237. One thing that most religions that believe in reincarnation likely got wrong is the idea of karma or trying to complete some journey. No judge decides the worth of your life or merits of your actions. Remove the idea of anyone or anything reviewing your life at its conclusion and using that knowledge to decide how your next life will start. Every birth is a roll of the dice and luck of the draw, and sometimes good people get unlucky and bad people get lucky. Proposition 238. If there is such a thing as a soul, then it almost certainly evolves, and may have done so for all eternity. As paradoxical as it sounds, an infinitely evolving soul is cohesive with my best understanding of the universe around us. At the very onset of life, first grabbing a foothold on this planet, the separate souls evolving through the atomic layer may have seen in an eternity of prior subatomic jumps into the next largest universe. Proposition 239. Imagine some souls get to be male for 10 or 20 lifetimes in a row, while others could be female for 10 or 20 lifetimes in a row. Now, imagine what that first life as the opposite gender, after so many successive lives as the other, would feel like. It would feel like you were born with the wrong set of pipes. When there is no medical or chemical reason why certain people feel so out of touch with their gender, maybe it's just been so long that certain memories have become reinforced. Proposition 240. So how do we each improve our chances of having the best possible life in our next lifetimes? what is the most selfish thing we could be doing to help promote our best possible lives in the future? Very simply, we should be going out of our way every day to do as much as possible to make the world a better place for everyone else's grandchildren. When every person lives with that core goal, we're going to end up riding a highway to heaven and torching the stairway to hell.